We are live at the Project Controls Excellence London Forum, and we are delighted to be talking the Project Controls Leader of the Future and the Digitized MMC. On our panel, we are very pleased to have Dr. Marwan AbuEbeid, a Digital Construction Lead at Turner, Emre Gokyigit, Senior Associate Director, Laminar Projects, as well as Helber Macedo, Global Commercial Operations Manager, costing at Baker Hughes. Really excited about today's session. Today, we kind of alluded to the changing landscape of construction, the digitization of construction, and we know that is why this is such an important session. But let's start with a bit of a first principles question. Emre, we're talking MMC, modern methods of construction, which at least in the UK is massive buzzword.
Yeah.
But what does it mean to you? And where can we start with that concept?
Well, I think MMC, when MMC is pronounced, the first thing comes to mind is prefabrication. But I think it's more than that. It's a mindset shift. It means that you can design, manufacture, and assemble buildings with the same predictability you would have in a very advanced industry. So bringing this to construction is already a revolutionary idea. Yes, it includes the modular elements like pods, prefabricated columns, etc. But at its core, it's removing all the avoidable work from site to reduce uncertainty. And once you do that, you create a more industrialized process. And it also comes with a data-rich outputs, because once you have more control on what you're doing, the external factors are controlled, and you are now in charge of the data is created. And I think this concept MMC can help us tackle the two most acute problems of the construction industry, which are low productivity because of the external factors and the chronic delays.
Indeed, and obviously this is the chief concern, or two of the chief concerns of the project controllers. Dr. Marwan, from a digital perspective, what do you think that is doing to the role of the project controller? Because we've had many panels, many sessions asking, will AI make a difference to the project controller? Will it eradicate all the junior project controllers? But what are your thoughts?
Well, actually, first of all, unfortunately, for many decades, construction being really behind other sectors of the economy in terms of innovation and deployment of latest state-of-art solutions and technologies. And that's why for decades also the construction sector performance was not doing its best performance as expected. So we are living now in the 21st century, and whether we like it or not, the digital train is moving too fast. Whoever not getting on board, he will be left behind. It's whether we like it, digital, we are not entering actually the digital and technology stuffing themselves by force in our life, whether we like it or not. So it's became part of the day-to-day routine for all of us. We are all holding a small computer in our hands called mobile phone. Our young generation even play with it for fun, but it's became part of the daily practice. It's like food and drink. So bringing the technology to be integrated with the daily operations of the construction sector, particularly in the project controls, it's became a dominant need actually these days. Again, the technology been around us for years, and other sectors manage to be ahead of us, such as manufacturing sector, especially being early adopter of the new technologies. And the construction sector started to pick up very recent and very rare. But at least finally we are catching up and trying now to be up to speed with the technology evolution surrounding us. Coming to the AI, unfortunately, many people mixing AI concept with the large language model. That's only one aspect of the AI. It's the tip of the iceberg, I can call it. Okay, AI goes way beyond that. It could be integrated in our operations in a different manner, especially we can to have it a smarter and more efficient workplace, since efficiency is one of the biggest pain in the construction sector we are facing.
Okay, so perhaps that is the ultimate promise of it. If it, if it's not just an LLM, it's helping with efficiency. It's helping with, as we just had, from Marco Fresenda a couple of sessions ago, integrating data sources. What about for you, Helber? When we're thinking of the promise of MMC and the increasing complexity of the environment, what does that do to the project controller? Like, there seems to be this one track of thought that says project controls will be project controls. We just want to recruit project controllers, but at the same time, we're saying that projects are more complex. How do we reconcile that?
Yeah. So first, thanks for the opportunity here, and apology for the small technical issue. My background is more oil and gas industry and nuclear, no? And what I believe that the project control professionals that work in this area, we need to reduce the amount of manual work, preparing presentations, and doing analysis, and we have more automation, more integration, more standardization. Why? Because the professional that's working with project control, he should be more spending time thinking, doing analysis, providing insights, providing solutions for the leadership. Where's the areas that they can see that we have problems? How do we areas that we can have opportunity? What is our critical path? What is the problems that we need to address? So it's not only to package the presentation or the numbers, but it's how you present the information, how you defend your information, your data.
That's interesting, because maybe it throws up an uncomfortable idea, and maybe this is too simplified. Let's give it to you, Emre. Do you think that if the promise of AI is to enable the project controller to do less of the graphs and work like that and do more project controlling, does that mean that we haven't been project controlling thus far? Like we're saying that it promises to free us up to do our day job? Is that the promise of AI?
I think there's a fair scope share between AI and us in the future. We will be able to subcontract some of our duties to AI, and then we will become the manager. Like all project controllers will be promoted to a manager, and the AI will be doing the legwork to collect the data, to build the relationship between the different data sets, produce results, and give us advice whether this makes sense or not. It's our call to decide. Also, we are aware that hallucination is there to stay until AI is fed with vast amount of information. So we need to be there to understand and then escalate this information to the managers to enable decision making. So I think it's a team member, but it's a very fast learning and clever team member. More and more we will be able to subcontract some of our tasks to AI.
And so I like what you said, Emre, because when we have been searching for this additional skill set for the project controller, we've said, oh, maybe a skill set in sustainability, maybe a skill set in data. But perhaps if we are using these tools as we would employees, the skill set is management.
Yes.
I mean, it may be as uncomplicated as that, whereas perhaps, but to be fair, we have been trying it with a variety of different panel discussions today. We have looked at one on why the project controller should factor in sustainability and how could they get metrics from that. We will have one on facades and why that is of interest, but perhaps there is a more high-level approach. Tell you what, though, Dr. Marwan, on our pre-call, we mentioned that perhaps going back to AI, there is a dynamic between buying in AI versus developing case studies in-house. And who's better to lead that kind of process? What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, well, I believe that the technology evolution is happening around us, no matter how we quickly adapt it or not. But the technology is not developed specific for each individual need. Now, it's up to the professionals who are working in that sector, having just a basic understanding how that technology works. Now, what are the strengths of this technology? Where are my weakness points or pain points? And can that technology fit within these weakness or pain points? Okay. It could be AI, for example, helping me getting rid of the routine paperworks. Okay. Some repetitive tasks which are consuming unnecessary time. Okay. I can invest that time in more important things to do. Or I can use AI as an additional layer of quality. For example, we managed to get the AI work as an extra eye to help us predict site dangers, risks, and safety risks on site and hazards on site for the laborers using the 360 cameras capture and so on, and the AI predicting whether there is a risk or there is a hazard here or not. So it's an extra layer, it's a support, okay, maybe not necessarily completely will cut some jobs, but let's look at it as further assistance. We will still, I think, for a long time, at least, hopefully, otherwise we'll all sit home and jobless. I believe for a while we're still gonna need the human input. Maybe it will help us to focus on the real thing and getting rid of the routine things.
And I like the case study that you used there because I mean I ran an event in Vancouver on a similar kind of AI question, and we were given a case study of health and safety where they were documenting near misses, not accidents, but near misses. And they said that that data could go into the project controls line of, I'm hoping we don't have lots of near misses. Like, let's reduce the near misses because the more near misses we have, the more actual problems we're going to have. It was okay. It's a niche case study, but I thought it was interesting. Helbert, what about for you? What do you think we're going to say we will let technology have, and what will we retain? Because we're interested in this quote unquote, more meaty work. Like, what is it? What is the more meaty work that we're looking to retain?
Yeah, I think that AI, I totally agree what Mahan said, because I think that AI is helping us supporting some manual activities. So, for example, to some summarized documents, to be a validation as well. So we have our process, and AI is helping to double check some steps to ensure that we are doing properly. So I think that AI for now we have been working as a support, has been working in our routine here. This is the way that we are using. I think there's one interesting comment as well that is important to highlight, that you need to, when you are thinking about AI, what's the tool that you'll be using, because there's some factors that we need to think about when I talk about project control. That is the quality of our data and the confidentiality of our data. So we cannot share our data with any AI. So we need to have a proper analysis to see what's the type of the AI that we'll be using. And how the AI will be using our information that we'll be sharing as well. So this is one important aspect that we need to analyze when we are defining the AI. A second thing that is important as well when talk about AI is what is the type of solution that we are expecting. So because there are different types of AIs, different types of solutions as well. So we need to understand the case. And this is what we have been here doing in Baker. We have different AIs for different problems that we have. So this is another thing that each company need to analyze to define what will be the solution that you'll be using.
which is kind of good, because if we imagine the office of the project controller, the one that is got a data scientist, has got an engineer, maybe a facades specialist, as and when you need it, right? You're going to need different AIs, different solutions. But Emre, I guess when we're looking at these project controllers of tomorrow, are we really looking at the same project controller of today, but just with different advice, different fractional services?
Well, as Shrak said in the previous session, the sector has been traditionally stable for a long time, but it's no longer remained the same in the next couple of years. There are lots to change, and we can predict some of those changes from the other industries, from our day-to-day way of getting information. For example, when you Google something, you are no longer scrolling on your page and clicking on a website. Instead, the AI generated response is giving you what you actually need. This concept is called zero-click web, and in the future, I believe we will have zero-click projects as well, because all the data is collected in a data lake, and you just request what you want to know from your genie. Why is my second floor slab is late? And you'll get the answer with all the related KPI. So that will remove the massive workload from project controllers, which is building dashboards, designing stuff. So in the future, I believe those won't be our main focus. Instead, it will be understanding, first of all, data guardianship. So understanding if the data is healthy to work with to begin with, because until robots take over, it is gonna be people who's creating the data. So we hold the upper hand there. So we need to understand fully the governance measures, so that the data we play with is safe. And as Helber said, safety of it. Second is indeed the ability to speak to AI, asking the right questions, prompt engineering. And third, I believe it's the human skills, because eventually we will have to convince some people with those results. The results doesn't make their own decisions.
If
Well,
I can add,
that's a
if I
bright
can add
future.
on Emre, actually, if I can add, I fully agree with Emre, actually. These days we are saying data is the new oil, but
Yeah.
it's important actually how smart we are first gathering the data, segregating the data, because not every data is useful. Okay, there's more than 80% of data categorized as dark data, actually, which is unfortunately unused properly. And it's argued, I read in one article research that only 5% of the data needed to make a single decision. However, which 5%? So that's where we can get the technology helping us better handling this data, doing the segregation, the classification of the data, and then helping us to find faster the really 5%, that golden 5% of information to help me make the decision or the next move.
And yeah, which makes it bring things that are relevant to you, which brings us back to a previous panel where we kind of alluded to it being a fusion center, where perhaps you may find sustainability metrics difficult to plug in, but if it acts as a fusion center, then it can create something that would then work with what you're doing. Much as, near misses on a factory or a construction project, that's kind of hard for you to go in and manually document near misses, but it could fuse the data for you. Mohammed in the audience. Hello, Mohammed. He says, over his 23 years in program controls, the primary challenge he has consistently observed is that when program controls assumes a leadership position, project management frequently responds by emphasizing additional data gathering tasks. Without this shift, the program controls role is often reinterpreted as project or project manager role, which is an interesting dynamic, isn't it? Because there is that career pathway between project controls and chief project officer or something like that. But then there are also the very experienced and very senior project controls leaders. So it's not always that clear cut, I think. But it's an interesting dynamic.
Can I comment on this, if I may? Now, it's part of the project controls. The first word usually is monitor and control. We managed in some cases actually to successfully deploy technologies in a smarter way, different than usual ways actually, to capture the data much faster and more efficient. And this was one of the reasons why we got the award recently for the Innovation Project of the Year in the Project Controls Expo. So I think this is a big area where technology can help us having a smarter way to gather and collect and refine the data, putting the right data in front of the decision maker so we can faster make corrective decisions. The famous catch to say, if you know the problem or understand the problem, this is half of the solution. So seeing the problem quick, fast, efficiently, I believe there's a big potential and playground for technology can help us definitely in this part.
I like that. Because it does talk to our wider question about, project controls excellence, super project controller. And I do feel that we have run up against two main lines of thought today so far, which are, I love my insert project management software here, and I go to work and I come home and I've done my, whatever. And another group which are like, no, this is a springboard to great things. We are nosy, we are inquisitive, and we're naturally going to plug into lots of things. Mohammed in the audience says, that's really great of you, Marwan. Thank you. So what qualities do we think the project controller of tomorrow should have? What do you think, Helber? Do you want the project controller to go on all sorts of IT courses and sustainability courses? What kind of attributes do you think they're going to have?
I think that's important to mention, that the basics is still important. Okay. I think that we cannot forget the basics. I think Shurag mentioned this thing in the previous presentation. I totally agree that before we run, we need to learn how to walk. No, and many times we're still having basic issues in the companies and the organizations, and we can discuss AI. We need to start to use, but we need always to remember that how important the training to ensure that the project controllers, they know the basic stuff. Despite this point that we need to know the basic, I think that one of the important things is to be flexible. No? We are every time need to do more with less resource, and this means that you need to be flexible. You need to be able to adapt for the new environment that you are seeing. The challenge that is happening. You need to be able to be flexible to adjust for the moment. The second thing that is very important, you need to understand. I believe that the project control, they need to, as a cost estimator or a planner, you need to understand the scope that you are working on. You need to have a background that support you to understand, if you're working civil construction, what is the scope that we are talking about. Because it's very difficult to defend a number, to defend the data for some topic that you don't understand about the scope that we are talking about. So it's very important that you have this knowledge as well. Another thing that is very important is the communication, is how you present the information, how you show your numbers, how you defend your numbers. This is very important, because maybe the first 5 minutes that you are presenting your information for the leadership, if it's not presented in the correct way, you can lost all the meeting. So this is another important thing about communication. And finally, yes, AI and the Power BI and all these tools are very helpful, but you need to keep to have the capability to do the analysis. How you can do the analysis, how you can detect the problems, what's the major areas that we need to focus, or how we can change the game if we are behind the schedule. What's the areas that we need to do? This is still a very important, valid point.
I love it. And if anything else, tomorrow is the chief defending the numbers officer, which could be good. What about for you, conscious of time, but like Emre, where do you think this leaves us in terms of the desirable attributes of the future project controller?
Well, what Marwan and Helber said summed up the qualities, but I would say um, interpreting the high resolution data, because the more capability, the more technology we have, we will be zooming in the data more and more. So there's no risk of, I would say, having not enough things to do for a project controller, because we are in a competitive market and companies are trying to have the best project management in the short time, finishing in the shortest time possible and the lowest cost. Therefore, the competition will drive better project controls solutions in the future. Therefore, getting familiar with the technology, but at the same time, not forgetting the fundamentals. A project controller who doesn't know earned value analysis would not make your project success with your perfect AI bot. We will need to rely on the fundamentals, but of course also grasp the technological advancements.
I like it. Yeah, which is it's more concrete than go off and learn coding or go off and develop your own LLM. It's more concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for you, Dr. Marwan, where then does this leave us? Could we a year from now ask about the super project control of the future, or could we perhaps nuance it in a slightly different way?
Well, personally, I am a member, advisory member board for several universities actually, and I believe we keep continuously helping them to develop further their curriculums to make the young generation, or especially the young engineers, more prepared for the future, or future ready, or industry ready. So I constantly keep urging them to get the students or get the new generations to be technology ready. Now, by technology ready or technology enabled, I don't mean they need to take IT courses or a special coding course, but at least they need to have the basic understanding of each of the technologies, just having a flavor, a taste of what is AI, how it works, what's blockchain and how it works, what is the imaginary capture and how it works, what is machine learning and how it works, the basic principles only, okay? And also we are in the new curriculums starting to making a new curriculum now, encouraging the students for imaginary thinking. We call it imaginary thinking. What does it mean? We try to encourage the students think beyond the norm. So you have a problem, okay, the obvious solution for it to work harder, or maybe pushing stronger, or increasing the labors or the resources on site. But let's think differently, think in a different way, okay? These, I believe, the basic two skills. So the student or the younger or the new project controls, first, I want them to be technology enabled, only the basis, fundamental understanding how it works, okay? And the readiness to think in a different way beyond the norm practice or beyond the norm regimes. And as I mentioned, when we got the innovation project reward, actually, it was several technologies we have used, but some of the best ideas we used came from fresh graduate students who came with an ideas from our experience. Unfortunately, our experience, it's building more strength of the quality, yes, but at the same time, by the way, it's limiting our imaginary to a certain area. So the younger generation had more imaginary because they never thought, why not? They ask, why we can't do this, why we can't do that. So, and they start having more critical thinking analysis. And yes, this technology can fill this gap by doing this and this, and let's explore that. So in my opinion, this is the nutshell of the basic, yes, skill required for the future project controllers.
I like it. I didn't expect that. So imagination and imaginary thinking. I think that's quite an inspiring angle to go on. But Dr. Marwan, Emre, and Helber, let's give you a big virtual round of applause, and I'll put you back in the audience. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you very much.